Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about when does the narcissist actually start hating the new supply? You see the narcissist move on in their life. They discard you like you're nothing, that you never meant anything to them. And now you see the narcissist all happy with the new supply, okay? They're boasting about it on social media, trying to shove it in your face. Oh, look at me. This person is wonderful. You were nothing. You're thinking that the narcissist moved on. They're happy. They seem happy and everything like that. But when do you think the narcissist grows to hate the new supply? Well, here's what I have to say to all of this. First of all, everybody's nice in the beginning. No matter what relationship it is, everybody's nice in the beginning. So in the beginning, when the narcissist goes with the new supply, of course it's going to seem like, oh, they're happy, things are great, okay? And also, this is what they want you to think. They want you to think that their life is great because they want to make you feel lousy. They want to make you feel like you were the problem, okay? And the narcissist puts on a good act, but what you have to understand is narcissists always ruin everything. And why is that? Because they're toxic, okay? So the narcissist moves on to the new supply. And how do you think things are going to go with the new supply? Well, initially, maybe for the first 3 months, it's going to be great because it's all new. The new supply is new. And, the narcissist may seem, enamored of the new supply, thinking they're great. They're happy. They have something to offer them. But when do you think it's actually going to go left? Okay, I'm going to tell you when it's going to go left. It's going to go left when the new supply starts asking questions to the narcissist. See, once the new supply starts asking questions or starts questioning the narcissist, narcissists don't like to be questioned. They don't like to be asked, where you're going, what you're doing. They don't like the interrogation. And that normally, happens with anybody when you're in a relationship. It all starts out great, but then there's going to be times where people break your boundaries or you call them out for something. And that's exactly what's going to happen with the new supply and the narcissist. The new supply is going to be in la-la land in the beginning. They're going to think the narcissist was the greatest thing that ever walked into their life. But as time goes on and the narcissist starts gaslighting the new supply, the narcissist starts ghosting the new supply, the narcissist, starts, lying and everything like that, the new supply is going to start to fall out of that love bomb, that fantasy, and they're going to change up on the narcissist. And they're going to start questioning the narcissist. They're going to start to see through the narcissist. And what's that going to do? That's going to make the narcissist hate the new supply, okay? They will absolutely hate the new supply because also keep in mind, narcissists grow to hate everybody, okay? This is so true. Narcissists always, there's always an expiration date when dealing with a narcissist because, eventually they're going to get tired of you. They're going to get bored of you. You're no longer going to serve a purpose to them. You're no longer going to be new. You're no longer the shiny new toy anymore to the narcissist. So when that point happens, now, generally, you guys, and I did a video on this a while back, when does the love bombing stop? Generally, it stops, or, when does it end, rather? It generally ends between 3 and 6 months, okay? So the narcissist moves on to the new supply, and generally between 3 and 6 months is when you're going to have some turbulence there between the narcissist and the new supply. This is just a fact, okay? Now, the only difference is if that narcissist is with the new supply, let's say, for something really big, okay? And that could be a money supply, a financial supply. Because here's the difference. When it comes to money, Narcissists can wear the mask a lot longer if it's a bigger supply, it's, of such as money. Then the narcissist could wear the mask a lot longer because they know they got to put the work in. They know they got to, keep the mask on, and they got to keep themselves in check because they're after somebody's money, all right? They're after somebody's money. So the thing is, sometimes narcissists can, they could fool people even longer than 6 months. And especially, like I said, if they're after a supply of money. This is why you see scammers, all right? Scammers can put on the act for even up to a year, okay, with the love bombing and not even ask somebody for money. And then once they feel they have them locked in, they have them hooked, they know this person is, in their pocket, they're not going anywhere, that's when the narcissist is going to ask for things, okay? Excuse me, once they know that they've got you hook, line, and sinker. So the thing is this, it all depends on what that narcissist is after. So like I said, the greater the supply, the better the love bombing, and the longer that the narcissist can keep themselves in check will be the longer the relationship goes with the new supply. But see, what a lot of people don't realize is that just because the narcissist moves on to the new supply, they still have backup to the new supply. So they're still going to be doing their thing even with the new supply, because people say, oh, they moved on. Oh, they're so in love. It makes, their exes feel lousy. Like, look at them. Maybe I was the problem. Look how happy they look with this person. Remember what I always tell you. They want you to think that, okay? They're going to tell people that know you that. They wanted to get back to you that, oh, they're doing so well. Oh, they're so happy. But you don't know what's going on behind those closed doors. That's all a front. There's always going to be trouble with a narcissist. Always, always, always going to be trouble with a narcissist, okay? And it really depends on the new supply and how savvy they are in seeing that the narcissist is a toxic person. If you have a very sharp, smart, savvy individual that knows about narcissism, they're going to see through the narcissist quickly, okay? And that's when game over for the narcissist. But if you have somebody that's a little bit more naive, doesn't really realize they're with a narcissist, somebody who's inexperienced, who doesn't really know the game, the narcissist is going to run with it, okay? I mean, narcissists will eventually show their true colors, all right? It's just a matter of time, but it could be longer if the new supply is, not up on things, okay? Not up on the game and doesn't recognize the red flags or is desperate or ignores the red flags. That's true too. Like if you have a new supply who's also desperate, who doesn't want to be alone, who will put up with the narcissist's bullshit, yeah, the narcissist is going to be with them for a while because they're getting what they want, and that new supply is putting up with all of that. But listen here, okay? I've lived a lot of life, and I'm going to tell you that eventually even the sappiest new supply is going to have a breaking point, okay? Because what happens is the narcissist keeps pushing the goalpost. This is how they are. Nothing is enough for the narcissist, so they're going to keep pushing the goalpost with the new supply. And what's going to happen is the more the narcissist is able to get away with, the more the narcissist is going to lose respect for the new supply and grow to hate them, okay? Grow to hate them. Now, keep in mind this. When you walk away from that narcissist and you cut them off cold, I mean cold, you don't, you just totally you block them off everything, no response to any kind of hoovering on birthdays or holidays, you just cut them off cold. And you show that narcissist that you're living your life, you're good, you're okay, you're happy, that's going to bother the narcissist. And that's also going to make the new supply, unappealable, okay? Not appealing, okay? The new supply is going to lose its shine, lose its luster when the narcissist sees that you're slipping away. And even worse, Even worse, if you've moved on to another relationship, okay? Now the new supply is going to become the old shoe, all right? And now they may be thirsty and be missing you or missing the supply you had because now you're becoming unattainable, all right? They know that that door is closing, that you're moving on in your life. And now they're not getting any supply from you because you're not chasing after the narcissist. And narcissists hate that. What a narcissist absolutely loves is to move on to a new supply and have you fighting with the new supply. Ooh, they love when you fight with the new supply or you're chasing after the narcissist. What's a bigger ego boost than that, right? But when you show you don't care, you're indifferent. And I did a reel on this yesterday where I talked about the absolutely best way to defeat a narcissist is to just not care, okay? That you defeat a narcissist by not caring about them, by being indifferent, not being angry, not fighting, not showing your emotions, but by just letting it go and not caring anymore and moving on in your life, okay? Narcissists want to feel important. They want to know that you care. So when they see you move on and you're happy and you're doing well for yourself, ooh, they're going to grow a hatred for that new supply that they're with, okay? And they're going to start to second guess themselves like, did they make the right move here? Unless the new supply really has something great to offer them, if you had a good supply and you're the ex, they're going to miss that, all right? And that's when they're going to start being mean to the new supply. When they start realizing that they lost you, they're going to start being mean to the new supply, all right? And torturing them because they lost you. And they're going to resent the new supply because narcissists don't take any accountability for leaving you. If anything, they're going to blame the new supply for coming into their life, all right? And so they're going to torture the new supply by devaluing them, smearing them, putting them down, all right? Maybe triangulating and triangulating the new supply with their ex, telling them that, they're not shit compared to their exes and everything like that because the narcissist is angry, okay? They're angry that their ex moved on and now they're with this new person, and this new person is not exciting. They're not new. The new person, the new supply is seeing through them, okay? And they're starting to have regrets. That's what it is. And when a narcissist starts to have regrets, they get angry and they've got to blame somebody. And that target will be the one closest to them at the time, and that will be the new supply. This is when the narcissist will grow to hate the new supply, is when you've moved on in your life. You couldn't care less about the narcissist. You're showing them no reaction. And the narcissist now has no access to you, and you had a good supply to that narcissist. You got to have a good supply, you guys. You got to have a good supply, in order for that narcissist to feel it or feel like they lost something. All right. If you were just a backup supply, sorry to tell you, the narcissist is not going to feel nothing. All right. Because, they had supply that could give them more than what you had to offer them. So they're not going to really feel it as much. But if you were like, let's say, a grade A supply or a good supply, and they moved on to the new supply, they're going to feel it when you move on. They are going to feel it. And they're going to get angry and bitter, and especially if they lose access to you, and they're going to take it out and fight with the new supply, okay? But keep in mind this. The narcissist will never, ever let you know that there's trouble in paradise because they never, ever want to show, their hand. They never want people to know what's going on behind closed doors. Narcissists are very sneaky. They're very private, and they don't want people knowing things aren't good in their household. That's why a lot of them, they put on a good face on social media with their wives, their husbands, posting with their kids, showing how wonderful their life is. You see this a lot with celebrities or politicians. They're always posting with their spouse or their kids. Oh, their life is so wonderful. Ooh, look at them. They're playing with their dog, okay? Meanwhile, inside the house, they're fighting and arguing, silent treatments. One is trying to strangle the other, okay? I mean, all these things are happening behind closed doors, but you would never know that because the false persona that they put on social media. So I always say, just because somebody looks happy on social media, you don't know what goes on behind closed doors, gang. You don't know. That's why you hear all of a sudden, ooh, so-and-so's getting divorced. And you're like, I can't believe they're getting divorced. Yeah, well, you can't believe they're getting divorced because they didn't give you an inkling that there was problems in their marriage, because they put on a false front in front of other people, pretending that everything is great. And this is exactly what happens with the new supply. So this is what I have to tell you. However that narcissist treated you will be how they treat that new supply, okay? However they devalued you will be how they devalue the new supply. However they gaslit you will be how they gaslit the new supply. However they cheated on you will be how they cheat on the new supply, okay? So it's like this. That is the narcissist's behavior. That is their character. And a person doesn't just lose their character like that, okay? So this is what they're going to do to the new supply, then the new supply after that, then the new supply after that, then the new supply after that. Because narcissists, they don't self-reflect. They don't correct themselves. They keep repeating the same toxic behavior from new supply to new supply after that to new supply after that. So they don't repent, and they don't fix themselves. They don't take accountability. They don't acknowledge acknowledge shame or anything like that. So, if you can't acknowledge the problem, you can't fix the problem. And this is the issue with narcissists. They will never acknowledge that they have a problem. This is why they love to sweep things under the rug and say things like, you keep bringing up the past or something like that. Of course they don't want to bring up the past because they don't want to have to alter themselves and change. So they want to sweep it under the rug, or they want to ignore it, or they want to run from you when you confront them, and then they come back and they don't bring up the argument. This is all deflection because they don't want to have to change themselves, all right? They don't want to it's not just about taking accountability. Okay, somebody can take accountability and everything like that, but they have to change themselves, and they don't want to change themselves, all right? Because if they could get away with what they're doing, they feel, why should I have to change myself? And also in their delusional minds, they don't think they're the problem. They think you're the problem. Anything they do, they feel justified because they twist the narrative to make you or whoever else the problem, all right? So it's all to avoid shame. This is what it is, okay? So that narcissist is going to grow to hate the new supply the way they grew and hated you, all right? That's just a fact. Now, people come back at me and they say, well, they're with them a long time. They're with them a long time. Listen here, okay? A narcissist can stay with somebody for a long time, and I've seen it. Okay? I've seen it. I've lived a lot of life. I've seen narcissists stay married for over 30 years. Okay? The reason is because they're, narcissists, especially when you have two narcissists, they serve a purpose to each other. They use each other. But a narcissist can stay married to somebody a long time. But keep in mind that that narcissist is still living a secret life, doing what they want on the side, okay? So if they're staying with somebody for a long time, you can trust and believe that that person is putting up with shit, okay? They are putting up with shit if they're staying together for a long time, all right? So Narcissists grow a hatred for everyone, okay? That is the universal rule. Eventually, they will grow a hatred for everyone, and especially when you become of no use to them, they'll throw you out like garbage, okay? They'll throw you out like garbage. If you're of no use to the narcissist, they will, discard you like you were nothing, all right? And that's what happens too with the new supply. Eventually, the new supply becomes of no use to the narcissist, and that's when they end up discarding them, or they could just be having a relationship with other people on the side, and they stay in the marriage maybe because of financial reasons. They don't want to get a divorce. They don't want to split assets. They don't want, every other weekend with their kids on visitation during a divorce. They don't want to deal with that. So they stay married to somebody, and then they do what they want on the side. If they can get away with it, they do what they want on the side. So like I said, if the narcissist stays with the new supply, you could trust and believe that either the new supply is trauma bonded to the narcissist, or that new supply is putting up with shit, all right? They're putting up with shit if they're with them a long time, okay? And that could be because maybe the new supply doesn't want to be alone, all right? They don't want to be alone. But down the road, it's all going to break. Eventually, it's going to break. Because like I said in my reel yesterday, the empath becomes stronger and the narcissist becomes weaker. And that's when the empath says, I've had enough, and they leave the relationship. And that's generally what will happen down the road with the new supply and the narcissist. If the new supply is an empath, they're going to get to their breaking point. And that's when it's, RIP for the narcissist, okay? That's RIP for the narcissist, because now they've had enough, all right? So that's when the narcissist starts hating the empath, and, when the new new supply empath rather, that's when the narcissist starts hating the new supply, who could be an empath, or they don't even necessarily have to be an empath. They could be another narcissist, but they're going to grow to hate them when, now they're not, the shiny new toy anymore, and their exes have moved on. That's when that narcissist is going to hate the new supply, okay? And they no longer have access to their exes, and they see their exes are happy now, and they'll grow a hatred for that new supply, and they will especially hate them when they start questioning them about what they're doing, or they tell them that they're wrong. That's when the narcissist is going to be like looking at the new supply as enemy number one. Don't ever tell a narcissist that they're wrong, and don't ever challenge a narcissist, because then you will become enemy number one. And eventually that's what happens with the new supply. They're going to challenge them, and they're going to tell them they're wrong about something. And that's when the narcissist is all of a sudden going to grow a big hatred for that new supply. And they're going to get tired and bored of them. Okay? So I hope that helps you. If it does, hit the subscribe button, share the video, spread the awareness. The more awareness you spread, the faster you kill that narcissist. All right? Kill their game. Also, if you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. I have limited time, you guys. I've just been working nonstop, okay? Also, for more information, I lay it down on YouTube, over 7,000 videos. I have a lot of videos and information on narcissism, a lot on covert narcissists. So check out my YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast. You could do a search on my channel for whatever topic within narcissism you want information on. For more reels and information and videos and posts, check out my Facebook, Instagram at the Game EXP123, and TikTok, you guys, is the Game Exposed. And have a great day.